I'm Dr. Kirsten Robinson. I'm the Crisis and Outreach Coordinator at the University of Tulsa. Many of you know me from the mental health first aid trainings that I often led around campus. In the light of the recent situation, I wanted to take a moment and record a video to give some tips and tools to help manage stress and mental health in light of a hugely distressful situation. First, I just want to acknowledge how hard this is. We have had so much change in such a short amount of time, and many of us are still scrambling to catch up and figure out some sense of normalcy in spite of it all. In a situation in which we often have very little control, I want us to focus on a couple areas that we do still have control over and will positively impact our mental health. One of the things that I want to talk about is self-care. Self-care is basically any activity you do that recharges you. We often spend a lot of time running around doing activities that take our energy, but we have to remember to spend time doing activities that give us energy. On the screen, you'll see lots of different examples of what self-care may look like. Right now, you may have to actually be a little creative with your self-care, given that gyms are closed and childcare may be a little bit harder. However, it's more important now than ever that we continue to keep these practices up. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, they still count and it adds up over time. The other reason this is so important is that we actually have a lot more power than we realize over how we feel. Every choice we make has an effect, and when we do things that help ease our stress and our mental health, it can actually help us feel more balanced and more grounded. There's also things that we can do or not do that have the opposite effect and make us feel more stressed or may exacerbate our symptoms of anxiety and depression. This is what I want to look at a little more now. One of my favorite worksheets is the self-care rating scale. It's a really quick and easy guide to look at the different areas of our life that are all important and need attention. Anytime any of these areas get out of balance, we start to feel it. I encourage you to use this guide to rate yourself on those scales and see what areas you're low, what areas you're high, and maybe play around with it and see if you can tell a difference in the way you feel after doing it. The other thing I want to talk about is this concept known as delayed gratification, and it's about kids and cookies. So there was this researcher, and he had these cookies, and he told kids, you can either have one right now, but if you wait 10 minutes, you can have two. And the idea of the experiment is that they would have to sit with the uncomfortable emotions to get the bigger reward. So I want you to keep this in mind when we go to our day-to-day lives, because I know that there are some really high reward things that are great in the moment, but over time, they don't always leave us feeling so good. Some of those things are sweets, comfort food, alcohol, drugs, substances, and don't get me wrong, in moderation, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. However, if we forget about the self-care rating scale and all those different domains and only do the immediate reward things, we start to feel it over time. So my advice is just remember the delay of gratification. Give yourself the cookie every now and then, but sometimes hold the immediate reward, go ahead and cook the vegetables, and know that you'll thank yourself later. I couldn't have a mental health video during a pandemic without talking about one really important issue, and that's grief. We've all had a lot of losses lately. We've lost our routine, we've lost our community. Some people have lost their jobs, their health. It's a lot. And because of that, there's no doubt that we are experiencing grief. So having feelings like anger, fear, sadness are all really normal. And in fact, I encourage you to feel them. Feelings are often like thunderstorms. They may rumble and not feel very good in the moment, but eventually they pass and the sun comes back out. Feeling them is how we heal. It's when we don't feel them and when we shove them in a box that we do all sorts of crazy things to try to distract ourselves to pretend that there's not a box full of feelings there, because they don't usually go away. So I just want to encourage you, take some time to sit with this and to feel it and to allow yourselves to heal from it. I also want to mention that even if you do everything that I've talked about in this video, we're in a pandemic and it's hard. So we have resources for you. The Counseling Center is still open virtually, and we have two different types of offerings. We have our traditional therapy, and that has been extended to faculty and staff as well as students. And then we also have non-clinical consultation appointments with our outreach team. So these are not therapy, but they're 1-hour sessions where you can either talk to somebody to learn skills, maybe you just need to vent or get some insight on a very specific issue, or maybe you want to be connected with resources out in the community. we can help you do all of those things. I also want to point out Human Resources website because they are doing a fantastic job of keeping it updated with all the COVID-related TU things. So please keep checking up on it because I think it's changing quicker than any of us can keep up with it. I want to leave you by saying I wish you and your family nothing but health and safety over the next few months, and I cannot wait to see you all again on campus. Thank you.